Hi and welcome to Becoming Extraordinary. This is your job search buddy Chirag. In this video, I will be talking about resumes. And as I promised you, this is my unfiltered, unedited series. So I'm going to be sharing my screen. Give me a moment and I will share the resume template that actually helped me land some of the biggest interviews of my life. This is the resume, or this is the resume template more so, which helped me land some of the biggest interviews of my life, which were at Audi, Apple, BMW, Under Armour, and Toyota. One of the things that I have learned through my career is that a resume does not land you a job. The resume's role is to get you an interview, because obviously once you're shortlisted you will have to talk to people, you will be giving interviews, and that is when you will be getting hired. You'll have to go through that entire process. So if we look at the role of a resume in isolation, it just needs to do one damn thing for me, which is get me an interview, right? So before I dive into कि यार मेरा resume मैंने कैसे बनाया and what is an ideal resume, I want to talk about the journey of the resume. I promise you in my next video I'm going to break down this entire resume for you. I will also share it in a Word format, and I will share the link with you for you to download, copy paste, and then rework your resume so you can use this format. But before we dive into that, how to make or draft a killer resume, इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट इन माई ओपिनियन टू अंडरस्टैंड कि यार एक रेज्यूमे की जर्नी क्या होती है, उसका पर्पस मैंने आपको बता दिया दैट इट नीड्स टू लैंड मी इन इंटरव्यू. बट लेट्स फर्स्ट अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इज द जर्नी ऑफ अ रेज्यूमे एंड typically the hiring process. So you would go and apply for a job at on LinkedIn, Naukri, Monster, Indeed, whatever that may be, and then obviously the company website, etc. So all these resumes are accumulated and they are then sent through this application tracking system, which is also called the ATS. And we've grown to hate this. But the one thing to remember here is that जो first screening है हमारे resume की, that is being done by a machine and not a human being. That's point number one. Then what happens is that each ATS system will flag some of the best resumes based on the keywords, etc. And then the HR manager has a look at it, because उनका job ये है कि they need to identify the best candidates for the interview and for the screening and hand it over to the hiring manager. And that is when the hiring manager sees and goes through the resumes. But just to give you an understanding, what happens is there is this funnel. सबसे पहले ATS tracking system ने hundreds and thousands of जो resumes, वहां से the hiring manager will look at about 25 odd resumes. Ideally, that's the number. It can be higher or lower. What I'm doing is, on a side note, that I have scheduled a few conversations with hiring managers to get real-time perspective as well. So I will also get you information from the hiring managers themselves. The So the HR manager is the person who is then looking at these shortlisted resumes from the application tracking system. And then they identify that, okay, these are my top 15 or top 10 applicants. And then those resumes are sent to the hiring manager. Now, the hiring manager only has that much time that they will look at the best resumes that have been forwarded to them through HR. And eventually, the hiring manager is going to say that, okay, here are the top 5 candidates out of the resumes that I have received. I've reviewed them. And they're the ones who look at the resumes at in length. And सबसे ज़्यादा detail में, a hiring manager is the one who will go through the resume. And eventually, what happens is that those 5 candidates जिनके resume select हुए, they are the ones who receive the first call or the screening call from HR, right? So, what are your key takeaways over here? Number one, the most important person that we need to impress is the hiring manager. And why is that? Because the hiring manager is the person that has spent time putting together the job description. Next, the hiring manager is the person who needs you the most in the whole organization. So, the hiring manager is the person who you would be working closely with, needs somebody on the team so that the work can get done, any bottleneck can be removed. So that is the reason why the hiring manager is so critical in this entire process. And eventually, based on different organizations, hiring process can be different. अंदर 3 4 5 6 rounds of interviews हों, but typically अगर आपको हायरिंग मैनेजर का अप्रूवल नहीं मिलेगा, you will not move to the next round. That's why the hiring manager's approval is key for you to move to the next round and for you to get hired, right? The next takeaway is that make your resume for the hiring manager. I think point number one, we established that the hiring manager is the critical cog in this entire scheme of things. And that's why it is important कि हम जब अपना resume draft, we draft it for the hiring manager, because that is the one person, remember, who will spend the maximum amount of time reviewing your entire resume and work with you closely. The third takeaway here would be that tailor your resume based on the job description. Typically, when I have put out a job description, I have put out the key areas I want the work to happen in. And you need to have in your resume skills, results that complement those certain key areas. That's why it is critical कि जब हम अपने dream job, dream company के लिए we tailor our resumes. I had promised you that this is not going to be easy. It is very simple, but it's not easy, and it will require that much of time. So you can have a resume which you can have as a general resume, and I will teach you how to create that as well. But for the jobs that you know envision कि यार मेरे को यहाँ पे काम करना है, उन jobs के लिए ना, it is critical that we tailor our resume based on the job description. And I will go back to point number one, which is our fourth takeaway, that if you're purely looking at applying through LinkedIn and other job site portals and company website, the first check is the ATS system, and आपको ATS system beat करना है कि HR manager आपका resume देखे. उसके लिए we need to use the right set of keywords. That is critical. Now, very quickly in this video, let's recap the takeaways. And I'm not going to read them out again. I've already discussed them at length. But this is something that I thought is very important, and a lot of people don't have clarity कि यार मैं जब resume बना रहा हूँ तो मैं सिर्फ ATS system के लिए बना रहा हूँ, या मैं hiring manager के लिए बना रहा हूँ, या मैं HR manager के लिए. The most important thing is that you create your resume for the hiring manager and feed it with the right set of keywords. Now, in my next video, I'm going to talk about how to draft a killer resume. And don't worry, I'm going to be sharing my resume template with you. I will break down the template, the format, everything, and also share some cool AI tools with you. So I hope that this video has been helpful and it has given you some sort of clarity that what goes beyond clicking that apply button and how do things unfold there. If you have any questions, please feel free to write them in the comment section. I will see you in the next video.